Mike Schmidt leads the National League in runs batted in, walks and runs scored, and is tied with Dave Kingman for home runs. He's hit in 20 of his last 23, and he bounces the ball out to third, fielded by the third baseman Richie Hebner, the throw to first base for the out.
Well, some devastating news has just moved on the AP wire. It just came over the wire about 3 or 4 minutes ago. That Thurman Munson, the Yankee catcher, has been killed in a private aircraft crash near Canton, Ohio.
He has been flying his own plane back and forth to his home, and that would be really devastating.
We repeat our information. We had a call from the radio station saying the story had moved on the AP wire. The Yankee catcher Thurman Munson was killed in a private airplane crash near Canton, Ohio, or perhaps right at the Canton, Ohio airport.
There's a base hit through the middle on the first pitch to Greg Luzinski. McBride will come in to score, and the Phillies lead by a score of 1-0. Luzinski hitting at .260 now with 56 runs batted in.
Over Canton, Ohio.
Reminds me of Kenny Hubbs, who was the second baseman for the Cubs, who was killed in his own private plane in a crash near Salt Lake City a few years back.
Story did not say whether or not Thurman was flying his own plane or not, but might very well be. Ralph, as you point out, he is a pilot and has been flying back and forth to get home.
That will bring up Bob Boone. Boone batting for the first time against the Mets, and he bounces it through the middle, a base hit to center field, and going to second base is Luzinski and holding there. Once again, we will pass on the terrible news that came across the wire service on a wire story. The next pitch alert swung on a miss. A wire service story reported that New York Yankee catcher Thurman Munson has been killed in the crash of his small plane on landing at the Akron-Canton Airport. That was this afternoon at approximately 3 o'clock. Mazzilli 1 for 4 last night, batting .311 for the year with 10 home runs and 53 runs batted in. And on the bulletin board, the notification of catcher Thurman Munson, and the game has come to a halt as the players looked at it and are stunned. Yankee catcher Thurman Munson was killed today in a plane crash near Canton, Ohio, and Mazzilli walking away from the batter's box over to the on-deck circle, obviously shaken by the message. It would get your attention no matter whether you knew baseball players or didn't.
Ralph, every player in the field for the Philadelphia Phillies standing motionless and staring at the message board. As you say, Lee Mazzilli saw it, was stunned, got out of the batter's box and walked away. You could hear a pin drop here at Shea Stadium.
Everybody in the ballpark stunned by the message on the bulletin board out in right center field, and a somber note taking over at the ballpark. You can just feel the difference in the attitude of the people.
I've never experienced anything quite like that in a stadium before.
I have not either. I've seen players carried off the field and what have you, but nothing quite like the way everything just turned down when that was flashed up there. Now play will be resumed on a different note, and here's the pitch to the plate. It's outside a ball. We're going to the top of the third. The Phillies leading 4-1. In case you just joined in, as much as we hate to do it, we feel we should pass on the information, tragic information, that Thurman Munson, the catcher for the Yankees, was killed in his own plane crash, flying his own plane near Canton, Ohio, in a landing today about 3 o'clock this afternoon. And Bob Murphy, that's really, I guess the suddenness of it all is what really gets to you about something like that.
To have a life snuffed out at the peak of a career, or at any time, so sad. At a bloop on a broken bat off Luzinski, back goes Tavares, and he takes it for the out. Lee Mazzilli had just stepped into the batter's box when they put the information on the message board. And the players were in a state of shock. Mazzilli left the batter's box, went back toward the dugout. Phillies were in the field. Everybody turned around and just stared at the message board in disbelief.
And we'll bring you that game, in just a few minutes. I think what we'll do instead is join ABC News, already in progress.
Single-engine light plane crashed while trying to land. Munson was just 32. He was the first Yankee to win both the Rookie of the Year and the Most Valuable Player awards. At Yankee Stadium in New York, Yankee spokesman Joe D'Ambrosio read us a statement from Yankees general partner George Steinbrenner.
I've lost a dear friend, a pal, and one of the greatest competitors I've ever known. We spent many hours together talking baseball and business. He loved his family. He was our leader. The great sport which made him so famous seems so very small and unimportant now, and therein lies a great lesson for all of us.
Joe D'Ambrosio. Munson, a native of the Akron-Canton area, had recently bought the plane. The FAA says Munson was with a flight instructor when the Cessna Citation crashed 1,000 feet short of the runway in Ohio. That's the news. I'm Ian Hunter for the American Entertainment Radio Network, a service of ABC News.
This is Doug Poling reporting on the CBS Radio Network. Near the Akron-Canton Airport this afternoon, New York Yankees catcher Thurman Munson was killed in the crash of a small jet plane. Munson was at the controls of his twin-engine Cessna Citation, which went down about 1,000 feet short of the runway. 2 other men aboard the aircraft managed to get out just before it exploded. They are hospitalized in fair condition.